If you've watched a lot of Meta ads content, you've probably noticed something. Almost all of it is built for brands spending $30,000 or $40,000 a day. Agencies showing off how they scaled some venture-backed brand from $10,000 a month to $1 million a month in a quarter. That's fun to watch, but almost none of it applies to you if you're doing under $10 million a year. Some of that advice will actually lose you money at your scale because the game is different when it's your budget and your margin on the line. I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I built a Shopify brand and ran it as the operator, grew it to $10 million a year, and had a peak month of over $200,000 in Meta ad spend. So I've sat in the seat where the ad bill is your money, and the question isn't, did we scale? It's, did we actually make anything? That's a different question, and it changes everything about how you run Meta. If we haven't met already, I am the digital avatar of Steve, the founder of e-commerce agency Working Digital. While he is helping Shopify brands scale with AI, I am here to keep you up to date with the latest AI strategies for e-commerce. Steve reads every comment, so make sure to drop one below. This video is about running Meta profitably when you're not a household name with an unlimited budget. The real profit math, what Meta ads actually are and aren't, why creative is the lever, and the thing the big budget gurus leave out, which is that the ads can't carry the whole business by themselves. Let's start with the word everyone skips. Profitably is the word that matters. The prompt I hear from store owners is, I'm running Meta ads, but I'm not making money. And the reason is almost always that they're watching the wrong number. The number Meta shows you is return on ad spend, revenue divided by ad spend, right there in the dashboard. And it's seductive because it's easy and it usually looks okay. A 3 times return feels like you're winning, but return on ad spend in the dashboard doesn't tell you if you made money. It ignores your product cost. It ignores your shipping. It ignores the discount you ran to get the sale. It ignores your overhead. A 3 times return on ad spend can be deeply unprofitable once all of that comes out, and plenty of brands are scaling a number that's quietly losing them money on every order. The number that actually matters is the relationship between 3 things. Your customer acquisition cost, which is what it really costs you to get one new customer. Your contribution margin, which is what's left from a sale after the real costs come out. And your lifetime value, which is what that customer is worth over time, not just on the first order. Here's the whole game under 10 million. You can afford to acquire a customer for up to what they're worth to you, accounting for margin and repeat purchases. If your acquisition cost is below that, you can scale. If it's above it, more spend just loses money faster. That's it. That's the math the dashboard hides. So before you touch a single campaign, you need to know your real numbers, not the meta number, your number. Because every decision after this, how much to spend, what's working, when to scale, comes back to that math. Now let's talk about what Meta actually does, because most people misunderstand the job of the platform, and that misunderstanding is expensive. Meta is not in the business of finding you customers out of thin air. It's not a slot machine where you put money in and customers come out. Meta is in the business of distributing content to a massive audience and letting its machine learning find the people most likely to respond. It's an amplification engine. This is the one thing the big agencies actually get right, so I'll give them that. Meta works best when you already have something that works and you use the platform to scale it. If you have content that resonates, an offer that converts, a product people genuinely want, Meta will pour fuel on that fire. If you don't have those things yet, Meta will faithfully amplify a thing that doesn't work, and you'll pay for the privilege. So the question changes. It's not, how do I get Meta to find me customers? It's, do I have something worth amplifying, and am I giving the machine what it needs to scale it? For most sub 10 million brands, the honest answer is that the thing being amplified isn't validated yet, and that's why the ads feel like they don't work. The practical version of this is to prove your offer and your message somewhere cheaper first. Your organic content, your email list, your existing customers. When you find the angle that makes people buy, that's the thing you hand to Meta. Meta is the amplifier, not the place you go to discover whether your business works. Get that order right, and Meta becomes incremental upside. Get it backwards, and Meta becomes an expensive way to find out your offer needed work. Here's where small brands waste the most time. They obsess over targeting. Which audience, which interest, which lookalike percentage. And targeting barely matters anymore. Meta's algorithm got good. When you give it a budget and a goal, it finds the buyers across a broad audience better than you can handpick them. The platform itself will tell you this. Broad targeting plus strong creative beats narrow targeting almost every time now. So the lever you actually control is the creative. And creative is a volume game, not a perfection game. The mistake is spending 3 weeks polishing one perfect ad. The winning approach is to validate a few angles that work, then produce a high volume of variations on those winners. Different hooks, different formats, user-generated content, statics, video, all built around the 2 or 3 messages you already know resonate. You don't need 50 different ideas. You need 2 or 3 proven angles and a lot of shots on each one. One winning piece of content can become a dozen ads by changing the hook, the format, and the opening few seconds. That's how you feed the machine enough fuel to scale without losing efficiency. For a brand under 10 million, this is the highest leverage thing you can do in the ad account. Not another audience test. More iterations of the message you already know works. The brands that can produce creative volume around validated angles are the ones that scale profitably. The brands stuck, making one precious ad at a time stay stuck. So if you're going to put your energy somewhere in Meta, put it into creative production, not audience settings. There's a specific trap that catches sub 10 million brands, and it comes from treating Meta as a pure sales channel that has to close every transaction by itself. Sales are soft, so you go into the ad account and start fiddling. New audiences, new bid strategies, turning campaigns on and off, chasing the dashboard up and down every day. You're optimizing Meta harder and harder, and the profitability still isn't there, because the problem was never in the ad account. The ads bought the traffic. But whether that traffic turns into profit depends on what happens after the click. Your product page, your offer, your checkout. And whether that customer is worth the acquisition cost depends on whether they come back, which depends on your email and retention. The ad account is one stage of a machine, and you can't fix a 3-stage problem by optimizing one stage. I covered this in my last video, that ads, conversion, and email are one system. It matters double for Meta, because Meta is the most expensive stage. Every weakness in your site and your email shows up as a worse return in the ad account, and then people respond by optimizing the ad account, which can't fix it. So when your meta numbers are bad, check the whole funnel before you blame the ads. Is the site converting the traffic? Is the email making customers worth more over time? A lot of the time, the fastest way to make Meta profitable is to improve the page, the ads point to, and the emails that follow the purchase, not the campaigns themselves. That's the unglamorous truth the 40,000 a day case studies skip. At your scale, Meta's profitability is mostly decided outside of Meta. Let me be straight about what's realistic at your scale, because the gurus won't. You are not the brand spending 40,000 a day with a full creative team and a CFO modeling projections. You're probably running lean, watching every dollar, and you can't afford a month of unprofitable testing to let the algorithm learn. That's a real constraint, and it changes the strategy. If you're under 10 million, you win by being disciplined, not by being aggressive. You know, your profit math cold. You validate offers cheaply before you amplify them. You produce creative volume around proven angles instead of chasing new ideas. You make sure your site and email are strong so the expensive ad traffic actually converts and repeats. And you scale slowly, only when the math supports it, instead of pouring budget and hoping volume fixes the unit economics. That's not as exciting as a $1 million Q4 case study, but it's how a brand at your scale actually makes money on Meta instead of feeding the platform. The flashy scaling stories almost always have something underneath them you can't see: a validated content machine, a strong organic base, a product with real demand. Build those first. Meta rewards them. And here's the encouraging part. Most of your direct competitors at your scale are making the mistakes I just described. They're optimizing the ad account, chasing audiences, scaling a dashboard number that isn't profit. If you get the fundamentals right, the profit math, validated creative, a funnel that converts and retains, you'll quietly outperform brands spending more than you. So should you run Meta yourself or hire it out? Depends on where the constraint is. If you've got the profit math down, you can produce creative and you have time to manage it. Running Meta in-house at your scale is very doable. The platform isn't the hard part anymore. The hard part is the discipline and the creative volume, and those you can build. Where a partner earns its keep is when the bottleneck is the whole system, not just the ad account. If your ads, your site, and your email are run by different people or nobody, and your profitability is leaking between them, that's when coordinating it under one roof pays off. The value isn't someone pushing buttons in the ad account. It's someone owning the profit math across acquisition, conversion, and retention together. That's how we run it. Not as a Meta-only service, but as paid ads, conversion, and email coordinated as one system, judged against your actual profit, not a dashboard number. Because at under 10 million, that's where the money is won or lost. If you want to see where your own funnel is leaking profit between the ads, the site, and the email, that's what our free growth audit looks at. We map the whole machine and show you where the money's actually going. Links in the description. Next video, we look at a question a lot of growing brands ask out loud. best alternative to a big agency like disruptive advertising when you're a smaller Shopify brand, and how to tell which kind of agency actually fits your size.